Imagine this. You have spent your entire life wondering why things that seem so easy for other people feel so difficult for you. You ask yourself, why am I forgetting important stuff, even when I care about it? Why do I have a graveyard of unfinished projects? Why can I hyper-focus on some things for hours, but I can't even start a simple email? And then, one day, you get diagnosed with ADHD. And suddenly, everything makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Great, so I have just spent 4 decades struggling for no reason. That's not the takeaway here. I think getting diagnosed with ADHD later in life isn't actually a bad thing. I think it's a blessing, and I will tell you why. Okay, but how is that a blessing? All it does is confirming that I have been failing in life for the last 40 years. I feel like I've been wasting so much time, and if I would have known earlier, my life could have been so much better. Failing? Nah man, you've been playing on hard mode without realizing. And that actually shows your true character and how strong you are. Well, that's one way to see it. At least I have a label now, but that doesn't really fix things. No, but it explains the way why your brain works the way it does. Once you start understanding that, you can stop beating yourself up for things that were never your fault in the first place. And you can start making changes that actually help. Look, here's the truth. ADHD doesn't just show up in kids. Tons of adults, especially women, slip through the cracks and don't get diagnosed until much later in life. Often only because their kids have been diagnosed. And ADHD usually runs in the family. So they kind of just put one and one together. Unfortunately by then, the damage often is kind of done. Years of feeling lazy or inconsistent, feeling like you just don't try hard enough, struggling with relationships, jobs, and even just basic self-care. But once you know what's going on, you can stop trying to be normal and just start to accept yourself for who you really are. And you can actually change the narrative. It's not, why am I like this anymore? It's more like, oh, this is just how my brain works. Cool, let's figure out what actually helps. So you stop feeling broken. You're not a flaky, irresponsible adult. You're a person with a brain that has different wiring. And this means that you can stop trying to fix yourself and start figuring out what actually helps. Try systems that help your memory, use reminders, visual cues and checklists instead of just relying on willpower. ADHD brains forget to remember. That's just normal. And ADHD isn't about a lack of motivation. It's about interest, urgency and novelty. We can hyper-focus on something that excites us, but the second it becomes boring or repetitive, it's like it doesn't exist. That's not laziness, that's just the lack of dopamine. Stop fighting it and find ways to make things engaging. Gamify tasks, set up mini rewards, create urgency with deadlines, even fake ones, because they do actually work. I know what I need to do, but I just can't make myself do it. So should I just accept that I suck at getting things done? No, you accept that you need different strategies. Instead of waiting for motivation, just use a 2-minute rule. Instead of keeping everything in your head, just start writing things down. And instead of sitting still for hours, just start to fidget a little bit. Helps you with your concentration too. Here, use that. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I like that approach. And then your self-talk changes. Before diagnosis, your inner voice might sound like, why am I like this? Why can't I just be normal? I should be able to do this. But once you understand ADHD, that voice changes to, oh, this is an executive function thing, not a me thing. I need to work differently, not harder. I don't suck, I just need the right tools. And that shift, that's where everything starts to change. So next time you start beating yourself up, pause and ask yourself, would I say this to a friend? And if not, say something kinder. ADHD brains thrive on encouragement, not shame and blame. Learn to let go of the shoulds. No more, I should be more organized, or I should be able to wake up early. Oh, I should have my life together by now. But who says that you should? Only yourself. ADHD means that your path might look different, and that's okay. You don't need to force yourself into a system anymore that doesn't work for you. You need systems that fit you and your lifestyle. Maybe you don't use a traditional planner, but a big whiteboard with everything written out works. Maybe you don't wake up at 5 a.m., but you crush it at night. Maybe you use alarms, sticky notes and voice memos because your brain just won't hold on to things and you won't remember otherwise. That's not failing, that's adapting. My dad used to have sticky notes everywhere and I could never understand that. But now I know, because, well, I guess he had ADHD. And I tried similar methods, but it didn't work for me at all. However, what does work for me is reminders on my phone. And that might be something that does work for you or it doesn't. But there definitely will be something that works for you and you just have to figure out what that is. And that is a message here. Just because things seem harder, they're not impossible. Now you can finally get the right support. ADHD isn't just about focus. It affects emotions, memory, energy levels, and even how we process time. And by knowing this, you can look for what you actually need and what would help you. At work, maybe you need deadlines broken down into smaller steps. At home, maybe you need a shared calendar so things don't get lost. In relationships, maybe your partner needs to understand that forgetfulness doesn't mean you don't care. This is where the real change happens. Self-acceptance and building systems that work. Because now you know. And that means that you can take action and be proactive instead of just sitting around and wondering what's wrong with you. And look, getting diagnosed in your late 30s or 40s or even later can feel like a punch in the gut. But it's not too late. And if anything, this is really where your life begins. Because now you know, and instead of feeling stuck in confusion, you can create your own roadmaps. Instead of blaming yourself, you can start adapting. And instead of feeling broken, you realize that you were actually never broken at all. See, you're not broken. Your brain just works a little differently. And now you know how to work with it. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think I like that idea. Alright, now I want to hear from you. If you were diagnosed as an adult, how old were you and what has changed for you? Let me know in the comments. And if you're still figuring this ADHD thing out, hit the subscribe button and let's figure it out together. And I'll see you in the next video.